You just heard me playing through a solo section of All Blues with a couple of musicians. As we all recorded remotely, we didn't get a chance to feed off each other like we would in a live situation, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what bass would do in a tune like this. All Blues is a great song to learn if you want to transition from blues to jazz. It's from the album A Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, and this album was a real departure from the usual complicated bebop tunes that you'd find around that era. Apparently the musicians recorded this album with little rehearsal and not much direction from Miles Davis, so it's got a real improvised feel to the album. In this video lesson I'll talk you through the form of All Blues, and I'll also show you what you can play for the bass line. You'll also get a chance to jam with these two fantastic musicians on the backing track that I'll leave running at the end of this video. I'll take out the bass so you can play your own bass line to it. The title gives you a clue as to the form of this song, because it's based on a 12-bar blues sequence. It's in G, and as you probably know, a 12-bar blues sequence in G is 4 bars of G, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of G, a bar of D, a bar of C, and 2 bars of G. The only difference between the chord sequence of All Blues and a 12-bar blues sequence is in bar 10. Usually we'd have a bar of C in the key of G, and in this case we've got half a bar of E flat and half a bar of D. These two chords sound more jazzy because they've got extensions added to them, and these extensions are extra notes put on top of the usual chord tones. You don't have to worry too much about these chord extensions because I'll show you the basic chord tones that we can use underneath these chords. This is the basic groove that we play throughout the bass line. I've written out my bass line and the solo and put it on a PDF in standard notation and tab. There's also the chord sequence on there and some extra information. You can get that by clicking the link below in the description. This song is in 6/8, but I've written it out in 3/4 because I think it looks better visually, especially for the solo section. This is what the basic groove looks like written out with both time signatures. They sound exactly the same, but you'll notice that in 3/4 the groove is spread across 2 bars, and in 6/8 it's in 1 bar only. This means that for 3/4 you have to double the amount of bars for the 12-bar sequence to work. So you end up with 8 bars of G, 4 bars of C, 4 bars of G, 2 bars of D, a bar of E flat, a bar of D, and 4 bars of G. Don't worry too much about time signatures. All you have to remember is that the basic groove is played 4 times on G before we move to the C chord. To play the groove, start with your first finger on G, so that's the 3rd fret of the E string. And then we're going to go to D, that's the 5th, so G, D, 5th fret of the A string. And we do D, E, 2nd fret of the D string, back to D, and then F, 3rd fret of the D string. So it's only those 4 notes, G, D, E, F. And try and use 1 finger per fret, apart from when you use your first finger on G. You could use a 2nd finger, but it's not very comfortable to play like this. I prefer to use my first finger, but if you like your 2nd finger then you can use that there on the G. We then move the groove up to C. So exactly the same pattern, but this time starting on the 3rd fret of the A string, so starting on C. Now for this video we're playing underneath the solo section. If you were to play underneath the tune, when the sequence moves to C, you just stay on G. So the bass part just plays that same groove all the way under G and C. So we play the groove twice on C. And then move back down to G. And then move to D, 1st finger. Now if you want to play something simple for the D and the E flat bars, then play D for 6 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. E flat for 3 and then D for 3. E flat 2, 3, D flat 2, 3, G. Okay, so with me, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back to G. To make these two bars more interesting, we can change the rhythmic pattern and try and match what the drum's doing. So if I play from the G before that, and then go to D, so we're actually putting 2 notes in the bars. We're doing 2 notes across 3. And I'm using a root 5th octave idea. So I'm playing D, A, D. So that's root 5th octave. So 5 on the A string, 7 on the D string, 7 on the G string. So, and then back down, E flat to the 5th, D to the 5th. Okay, make sure you get that rhythm right. Back down to G. Now when you go from the D to the G, you could actually play a chromatic note, this one here, above the G, the A flat or G sharp, whatever you want to call it, down to G. So you're doing the fret above the G. So that note there is a chromatic note, that A flat. And chromatic notes are any note that are outside of the usual major scale. I played something different each time I played through the chorus for those 2 bars, and I'll now play those to you. And by the way, a chorus is jazz language for once through the sequence. So these are bars 9 and 10 of the sequence. So you can hear quite a lot of variation in those 3 takes that I played. And remember, I've written this all out on a PDF with standard notation and tab, and you can get that below in a description. So have a look at my 3 different takes and see if you can incorporate those into your own bass lines. After the D and E flat bars, we then end with the riff on G twice. And then we go back to the beginning of the sequence again. So you now know what to play through a whole chorus. I've been more adventurous when I played through the recording, so what I suggest you do is learn the basic groove, and when you're comfortable with that, then add some extra notes in when you're playing through with the backing track. Have a look at my bass line on the PDF and listen to what I'm playing in the recording and see if you can pick up some ideas that you can use yourself. We briefly looked at chromatic notes with the A flat leading to the G. Now that's an approach note. And approach notes are always a good option to put in, so you can play a fret below or above the root note that you're ending up on. Now I've also put my solo on the PDF, and if you'd like me to make a lesson teaching you how to play that solo and how to solo yourself, then leave a comment below this video and let me know. If you want to try soloing, as well as listening to my solo, then listen to the guitar solo as well. That's a fantastic solo, and you can pick out some really good ideas to use yourself. So just briefly, a couple of ideas to use for soloing are a G blues scale or a G mixolydian scale, and I'll put both those scales on the PDF as well in case you need to refresh or learn those. I hope this introduction to all blues has helped you, and now you have more of an idea what to play for the bass line. Remember to also listen to the original Miles Davis track if you haven't done so already. If you enjoyed this lesson, then please let me know in the comments below, and also check out my other videos in my Starting Jazz series that I've got here on YouTube. Remember to subscribe to me here on YouTube by pressing the red subscribe button, and you might also want to head over to my website gbshed.com and you can register there and pick up my bonus freebie. This is Greg from Greg's Bass Shed. Have fun jamming with the backing track.